covered a lot of PC gaming accessories on this channel over the years. We're talking headsets, mice, mics, controllers, and of course plenty of keyboards. But over the last decade or so, there have been a ton of newer competitors entering that space across the board, but especially in the keyboard market. Premium gaming keyboards absolutely blew up in the early 2000s and 2010s, and sure, that market had always been around, but the esports scene was gaining more traction. Bigger companies were wanting to make moves and deliver on that premium gaming experience that people were looking for in their modern gaming lives. And then there came the side of the market that was focused on something else, the aesthetics of the setup. My Instagram feed is packed with setup shots from people like Setup Dad and Unboxed with Josh that are constantly trying out new layouts. Highly recommend following both of those as well, but they showcase new gadgets and gizmos and always remind me once again of how absolutely horrendous my cable management always is. But these awesome people showing off their awesome setups have also given me some FOMO when it comes to the style of my desk, which is why I'm very excited to show off the MelGeek MADE68 Ultra, because this might be one of the coolest looking keyboards I have ever used. MelGeek is one of those hidden gems of the keyboard space. This company was established in 2014 and really started to get things underway in 2018 before launching their first keyboard in 2021, the Mojo series. That was a mechanical keyboard with a transparent design that clearly put a big focus on the aesthetics. And then you fast forward to 2024 and they dropped the MADE68 series of keyboards, including the MADE68 Ultra, which MelGeek shot my way to check out. Now, MelGeek's website says their mantra is play for fun, not to win. In fact, it's right on the back of the keyboard and below the spacebar if you're popping that off for cleaning. But thankfully, this keyboard is one that can actually do both. But with a keyboard like this, you've got to start off with the look, because that's absolutely the thing that really makes this keyboard stand out from the crowd at first glance. And the light bar is the centerpiece of the MADE68 Ultra. It's actually a light box that's right on top of the keyboard as a kind of accent line, and it's fully customizable. You can adjust the brightness, give it pulse effects or wave effects, or just keep it a solid color like I have on mine, and you can change the color. We'll get into that more in a minute. And depending on which model you get out of the box, your keycaps also have a matching accent color, including escape keys and enter keys that really make this whole look pop. I love the green, and I could not recommend that enough. You've also got an aluminum alloy case that's gone through 8 rounds of fine polishing, according to the website, plus carbon fiber side panels that add this unique flair to the whole thing. And they're also keeping customization in mind here. The light box itself that comes with this controller is green or red or whatever color you pick from, so you can't really change how the light looks all that much when it comes to color right out of the box. But it is full RGB, and you can pick up different colored light bars and different side panels very affordably. They've definitely kept modularity in mind, which is going to be a big deal for anyone looking to up the aesthetics of their setup in the future and maybe even change the look. But taking this thing out of the box, the first thing you notice is the weight. This is a beefy keyboard. The MADE68 Ultra clocks in at 1,300 grams or 2.86 pounds, and you combine that with these sharp edges on the side with that polished look, and it's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. I absolutely love that, and it looks right at home on the desk. So it checks the aesthetic box, but keyboards are the centerpiece of your PC experience. They've got to work well too, and thankfully, this thing isn't all about the looks. On top, you've got a USB-C input where you can plug in the included USB-C cable, and it's one of those nice fabric feeling cables that almost is more like a piece of rope. I absolutely love this kind of stuff, and it's really easy to route it around a desk or through your setup. It's just much better. Once you get everything plugged in and routed up, you're looking at an 8K polling rate, how fast data is transferred to your computer, and then a 16K full key scan rate, how fast your keyboard actually detects inputs, that lands you at a theoretical latency of 0.125 milliseconds. In other words, it's super fast, more than enough for what most players are going to be looking for in any kind of game, including competitive FPS games. But MelGeek is actually packing in a lot of the top-of-the-line features that hardcore players are going to be looking for when they're picking their next keyboard. The MADE68 Ultra is not a mechanical keyboard. Instead, MelGeek is leaning into the magnetic switches that actually give you more control over the gaming experience in their software. Traditional mechanical switches rely on you literally hitting a mechanical switch to trigger a keystroke, and magnetic switches, on the other hand, open up way more customization possibilities, whether you're looking for a lower actuation or a higher actuation, basically having to bottom out the key or just barely tap it to register a keystroke. There's way more that these can do, and we'll get into that in a minute, but the MADE68 Ultra is packing TTC magneto switches right out of the box with the option to swap those out for different models if you want to in the future. MelGeek designed this keyboard to be very modular, so as technology evolves, so can your keyboard, or if your taste evolves and you want a different kind of switch, you can totally do that and throw those in here. They've also got 3 layers of sound dampening baked in here, but the metal base absolutely changes the way this keyboard sounds compared to any others that I've owned or even that I've tried, but you don't have to take my word for it. Here's a sample of what you can expect right out of the box. So now we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the software, MelGeek Hive. Now this is a very interesting approach to software because there isn't actually anything you download locally. Other gaming keyboard companies have local software that's running in the background while you play on your machine, but instead, MelGeek sends you over to a web app where you can change the brightness, adjust macros, toggle on and off settings. You've got settings like in-key rollover and auto calibration that keep fat fingering mistakes to a minimum for work and for play, but things really get interesting in the key mapping menu. Obviously, you can remap any function to any key. If you for some reason want your W key to be a mouse click, that's no problem. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can go for it. But the really interesting stuff comes in the super key menu. You're getting more of those premium features that you would expect out of a very high-end keyboard, stuff like DKS that lets you assign multiple key functions to each individual key. So if you're, for instance, playing something like Call of Duty and you want to set your W key to be a standard walking when you're partially holding it down and then sprinting when you're bottoming it out, you can do that in here. On top of that, you have something like Snap Tap, a kind of controversial feature in the competitive gaming world, but a useful one for the more casual players out there. This lets you pick two keys that each activate when the other one isn't activated. So if you're trying to stray for peak corners in an FPS, you can hold down A and D and release one or the other when you want to go left or right without having to actually completely change your finger position or hand movement. On top of that, they've got the DRT menu where you can pick two keys with key 1 immediately stopping and key 2 triggering as soon as you stop using key 1. So very intricate stuff like that. Going into the rapid trigger menu lets you select keys and change the specific actuation point for each key, or set your bottom dead zone if you don't want any extra keystrokes to sneak in there with little minor hand movements. And then of course you can turn on or off rapid trigger altogether, or flip on continuous rapid trigger to really make the most of it if you're trying to dial in your movement in game. Of course, if this is going to be your daily driver for work and for gaming, you probably don't want to have all of those gaming features enabled while you're trying to type, which is why you have different profiles as well. You can macro these to the keyboard or change them directly in the software, so you can have one profile macroed out with all of these gaming features and rapid tap and things like that, and then another with the basic loadout that's probably going to be better for typing. It's not even probably, it just would be better for typing. Now I will say, the software takes a minute to digest, especially if you're a novice that hasn't really had a ton of experience with different kinds of keyboard software. There's a lot of customization here, but after you take the time to really read through everything and understand what each option does, you can really dial in on the kind of gaming experience that you're personally looking for. In total, I've been rocking the MADE68 Ultra as my main keyboard for work and for gaming over the past 3 weeks, and I cannot recommend it enough. It's a keyboard that delivers on the tech that players are expecting out of their keyboards today, with plenty of the newer features that have come onto the scene and have shaken things up over the last 5 years. You take in all of that and add in the modularity of this thing with the different ways you can tweak it and make it your own for the look and the way it functions, and yeah, it's packing the heat. But the MADE68 Ultra is definitely competing in the premium corner of the keyboard market at $200, but considering the design, the build quality, and the features it's packing in here, it's kind of right in line with where a lot of the other competitors are at, competing at this level. And let's be real, if you're someone who's made it all the way to the end of a premium keyboard review, that's probably the corner of the market that you're shopping in. Of course, huge thanks to MelGeek for sending this unit over for review, but if you're new here and you enjoy what you see and what you hear, hit that subscribe button for videos like this every week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop, and I'll catch you on the next one.